What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for Solo Leveling. This is episode 11, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
Mhm. Well, definitely, yeah, this was one of the best episodes I've ever seen that A1 ever produce. I mean, just the overall animation style, just the way they use the backgrounds to make those movements so fluid. Just it's like almost mind blowing at times.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were saying that, I guess, based on the fight scene in the manhwa, that this was going to be like one of the more, action heavy episodes, or it was going to be a really intense episode. And I mean, it didn't really let me down in that regard. Like you said, the animation was just absolutely insane in this episode. Like they just put, it felt like the animators were like almost just working overtime to like make this be like I guess you'd say like almost like the standout episode, because I feel like it's almost the pretty much the best animated episode so far.
Yeah,
I mean, it's even better. I mean, that's saying something too, because I mean, a lot of the previous episodes do have had some pretty crazy moments of just the animation just going insane. But this one was just on another level, just because I guess mostly just because of the kind of abilities that the knight has and how fast he's moving. So I mean, they just went all out with the motion, I guess, and how fluid everything looked.
yeah. So it's of course this episode is about Sung trying to accept this whole job change quest, and of course he enters like a castle like dungeon, but but there's a catch that he can't escape the dungeon unless he you know beats the boss or completes whatever he needs to do in that castle dungeon. Another thing that he can't do is teleport, nor can he heal from his wounds, which it's uh, which is another major blow to his. I don't know. It's like he keeps getting thrown into one bad situation into another, but somehow he manages you know it manages to to get out of it with by the skin of his teeth, similar to the Cerberus fight.
Yeah, I mean, he takes some abuse in this fight, though. I mean, and I guess a lot of it is the way he's able to at least withstand most of it is because of the armor he finds earlier in the episode,
Yeah,
when he was fighting some of the knights, and he gets I guess he gets this armor that offers quite a bit of protection. But it seems like, yeah, he should have been dead quite a few times during this the fight in this episode.
yeah. I mean, with what was it? What's the name of that knight? Is like was it Igris or Igris? I can't pronounce the
Something like
name
that.
unless somebody can can point out the correct pronunciation. But yeah, it's just initially they were a bit on equal footing until like the knight just like literally gains the upper hand and just even nearly takes down Sung using hand to hand combat instead. Like
I like how
I don't.
I like how that he, like, after when he threw away his knife, like the knight also did it. Like he also just switched hand to hand.
Yeah, it's just like he uses every bit of powerful you know than Sung in every level, like even with without his weapons, just basically just pummeling him to almost a near death. I mean, we don't even get to see how much health Sung has until after the fight.
Yeah, so during the fight, Sung realizes that he can't really he can't really beat the knight in terms of, I guess, physical strength, because he's having a hard time just breaking through his armor. So he instead uses some item to give him like a speed buff, so he can be faster than the knight and just try to, I guess, outmaneuver him.
Yeah, and and of course it gets to the point where Sung basically gets pummeled to the point where he's near death. But just before the knight is able to land the killing blow, Sung just basically just grabs the blade with his bare hands, well using his armor ability, I guess, and then he beats the knight by using his poison dagger to stab the thing in the knight in the eye.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's pretty much what ends up killing him. But of course, Sung has taken quite a bit of abuse as well. I mean, there's one point like near the end of the fight where it seemed like that the anime was trying to I guess like show that he's in, he could potentially die, but we all know he's not going to die. But I guess because they show like his mother and his sister, like like trying to, I guess, imply he's not going to come back. But of course he wins. But uh, that while this is happening too, we see, I guess, one of the um. I forget what his name is, but I guess one of the higher ups in the Hunters Association, and I guess he's going to I guess he's going to Jeju Island because him and like some
Yeah,
other hunters are going on a helicopter.
yeah. The
Uh,
all the S rank hunters of Korea, including Chahain. Yeah, they're already heading to Jeju Island. So that's
I'm kind of wondering what that conversation was about that he was having um with, I guess, somebody else from the association about like uh I don't know if he's like trying to use it as like he's trying to be a politician or something, or because he's trying to say like we're going to use Jeju Island to help with my, or to boost my numbers, or like I'm not exactly sure what his motive is, but he's I guess he's there's some like ulterior motive or something with them.
it.
um
It's possible, but the
yeah.
problem with these scenes, okay, so these scenes, they're anime original only scenes, so
Oh.
they weren't really part of the of the manhwa chapters, from what I've read so far. So there was also same with the S rank hunter scenes. The was it the conversation, the dinner conversation between Jinho and his father and his brother is also anime original too.
Hmm.
Um, and of course, with that scene, we get a sense that there's an obvious sibling rivalry between. I wouldn't say like much of a sibling rivalry, but Jinho's brother, like straight up tells Jinho not to get in his way, even though like he's trying to work up the ranks in his own way, in terms of like
Yeah.
creating his own guild and such and such.
Yeah. um but yeah, so after this fight with the knight, uh Sung gets some new items. He gets the knight's helmet, and he also gets some other things. But before he can leave, there are these multiple different portals that start to open up, and there's a message from the system that says he has to basically survive uh within a time limit, I guess. But I don't think we know exactly how long he has to survive against all these different foes. But it's basically all the knights he was fighting before. But there's, I guess, just a lot of them this time, so he has to try to
Yeah.
hold out against them.
Yeah, and he's also given a chance to teleport away, because he's given a teleport stone soon after he beat the Blood Red Knight. But before he can use it, like one of the other knights ends up hitting him, which causes him to drop the teleport stone. So now, like he's in a situation where he's dealing with a horde of knights all around him for whatever amount of time he has to deal with.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, this scene was kind of shown in the opening, so I wasn't really surprised when I saw all those knights show up. Because we also saw him fight the Blood Knight, and also all these other knights that have just now shown up. Um, but yeah, I mean, it seems like he's gonna have some trouble like trying to hold out against them, considering he's already like worn down by that fight he just had. Um,
Yeah, and
yeah,
considering that, he still has no way to heal himself at this point.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I thought this was. I really think this is. I don't know if I'd say the best episode so far, but it's definitely up there just with how crazy it got in terms of the animation. Um, but yeah, I was pretty impressed by it, especially
I'm
considering it's A1 Pictures.
I'm still surprised that this fight lasted only one episode. Like like there were times when I really felt like some of these episodes could have gone at least a couple episodes, or maybe just one episode longer. Similar to
Mhm.
the fight Sung had with Kong in one of the dungeons a couple episodes ago. But yeah, but overall, yeah, animation style, this is definitely the best episode of the season so far. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, it's a little bit disappointing that next week is going to be the season finale, and of course, we're not going to get any indication whether or not. I mean, I'm pretty sure we might get a season two, but it's unknown whether or not that when they might end up planning on getting a season two until maybe this year or maybe the year after.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't have too much else to say about the episode though. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So like as I was saying, just overall the season is good. But the problem I still have is the lack of screen time of all the other characters. I mean, yeah, sure, they can
Yeah.
have like some of the anime original scenes placed here and there, but there's not a lot in there, to really even warrant that. And much of the screen time has been going to Sung, this entire season. And of course, that uh, there's also the loose plot thread uh with the S rank hunters going over to Jeju Island, which is another major storyline uh, later on in the story. But but with next week being the season finale, it's obvious that we're not going to get the full story of that until maybe season two.
Yeah, I am hoping at least that's something that does get addressed in a later season, that they give more screen time to some of the side characters that we haven't really seen that much of.
Yeah, and especially like the like characters like Cha Hain and Sung haven't really interacted at all this season. I mean, they're supposed to, they it's not until like Jeju Island is when they first start to meet each other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least they're, I guess, somewhat trying to address that with some of the anime original scenes. But even, like you said, even then, it's kind of, you can't help but feel like some of these characters are really getting sidelined, especially with how much they were built up as being like really important, uh,
Yeah,
with Shaheen in particular.
yeah. I still really felt that this should have been a two course season if unless they are planning on making a second season sometime down the road. I just really felt like they could have waited until like they could have made this a two-course series.
Yeah, I mean that probably would have been better, but I do think that they're probably going to make another season. I
Mm.
think that's highly likely considering how popular the anime's been.
Yeah,
Um,
and if I can remember correctly, I think up to this point of the show, it's like 50 chap. I think it was like I think the so far like up to the 11th episode is up to 50 chapters. And
hmm.
the overall story of what was it of this it's like it's over 200 chapters. So it's like it would
Yeah,
probably
so
need
they
at
still have
least,
a ways to go.
yeah, it still has a ways to go. And of course we're only up until like of course we have the 12th episode next week. So it's yeah, and also there, like I said, too many. There are still a lot of loose plot threads, particularly like the Jeju Island arc, and of course, uh, the plot with like what was it, Jin Ho and and his family and dealing with his situation.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, that guys. That all being said, until next week, we will see you all next time.